So one of the two areas of my research focuses on the anti-fascist or Antifa movement. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what motivates and drives the use of violence among Antifa activists. And this comes from a combination of ethnographic and interview research with Antifa activists. And what I found in my interviews is kind of two types of anti-fascist activists, what I label non-militant and militant. And the militant activists are those who are, of course, the ones willing to use force, violence, etc. In terms of the distinction between these two categories, it's not just one of the tactics or their tactical choices, the repertoire of tactics, as we say in social movement studies. It's also a factor of a perception of threat from people who are on the far right who are identified as fascists. What I found in my research was that those activists who identified as militant were more likely to have a direct perception of threat from the far right than people who were non-militant. And in particular, I broke that down into three categories. Those categories are physical threat, that is to say that these are people who face direct violence from fascist actors in the society. Political threat, which I identify as a sense of conflict around ideology in particular, because you're dealing with far left and far right activists. And then last but not least, a spatial threat. That is to say that militant anti-fascists tended to find themselves in the same kinds of social spaces as the far right. And this in particular is what drove the need for violent basically interactions and conflict, because this came from a sense of self-defense and a need to defend oneself in relation to these groups. And that's my 2 minutes on the next.